Well, all I can say is the usual thing. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and everything that they ever say about Texas, it's true. Everything is bigger and better in Texas. And I, if you notice, I have a new companion today, and this is Marley. And Marley is my little doggy pie, and she is the sweetest dog you have ever seen, other than the big gray one, my pit that with whom you've seen me. As we were walking outside this morning earlier, uh, the beautiful day in the neighborhood was a little bit nippy. And I, for Missy, rather for Marley, who I think Marley is a 12-year-old dog, 12. And she really enjoys going outside, and um, she enjoys her walk quite a bit. Um, and she's kind of a dog who wants to be in charge. And somehow or other, people frequently don't give animals a chance to see that being a dog is dog having a dog is probably the nicest thing, one of the nicest things that can happen to you. A dog, a cat. Some people may even have small lizards or small kind of, you can tell that I'm not accustomed to animals that don't have fur. But even they would be all right sometimes. When I was in the lab and we were doing research, we frequently had animals who were not furry creatures. But one of the things you find out is that I think it's Maslow, the psychologist, Abraham Maslow, and his hierarchy of needs. And I think I may have mentioned to you that at Mass the other day, they went to the second commandment. Love your neighbor as you, how? They don't say how, but you love your neighbor as you love yourself. It's one of those things just up there with the idea that there is no I in team, which is not true. Until you love yourself or care about yourself, you can't really care about anybody else. And it's one of the times I always think about Mama. And I would say sometimes to her that she was selfish. And she, of course, was the most selfless person that you can imagine. All you have to do is think of somebody who is mother to 15 kids, and she took care of all of them. And honestly and truthfully, I can say I don't think my mother had favorite children. And if she did, I was in the order in such a way that as she would say, I had a lot of book learning, but I did not have a sense to pour urine out of a cup with directions on the heel. And of course, you know that there is a hood way of saying that, which I don't have to say, but those of you who have heard it know it. And the thing is that, really, honestly, and truthfully, right up there with BI and team, until you or the person who is in charge of that team, until your needs as the coach, speaking of which, we'll get back to that one again, until those needs are met, you can't meet anyone else's needs, because you really, something's missing. Something's missing someplace. Like, how can I take care of this dog properly if my needs aren't met? I can't take care of her needs. I can't feed her. I can't groom her. I can't talk to her. I can't let her up and down to get in and out. All of the things that she needs to take care of me, until my needs are met, I can't do anything to take care of her. And therein lies the tale. And the thing is that we are constantly telling people about taking care of someone else's needs, and somehow or other perhaps demeaning the idea that your needs are first. And I think maybe someone was saying about the commandments, and me in my smart mouth, smart alecky kind of way, I said something about there were not 10 commandments, or that there are 10 commandments, but many times we treat them as if they were suggestions. And when you look at what the 10 commandments tell us, they really aren't suggestions. They are things that someplace along the way, they're etched in stone, right up there with love your neighbor as you love yourself. And that way, I can take care of Marley. Marley can take care of me. Marley can take care of and be with the other dog. She can be with the dogs in the neighborhood. I've been trying to teach her Spanish. But basically, I've been trying to learn Spanish so that I can teach her Spanish. And there are a couple of the neighbors that as I pass, they have noticed that I sometimes speak to the dogs in Spanish. And the most common thing I say to the big one is no dice woof woof, because she dice woof woof a lot of times when the animals are coming by. And basically it's because one of them gets into her space. But as time goes on, and when I see them coming, I will turn around or cross over to the other side. And you found that the keeper is wanting to do the same thing so that we don't have confrontations. And now we talk to each other from either side of the street. And it's getting to the point where my pit bull is very happy to see the little kids who are coming with the other big dogs. And they are beginning to communicate in such a way that it is non-confrontational. Because again, they in their dogness realize that there's enough space for all of us. But now one of the other things that I have noticed, that you've heard the little old lady from Pasadena, and I kind of think that some of my neighbors have begun to think of me as the little old lady from Mansfield. I found out that it's a lot easier to walk with my animals in the street. I can walk with both of them in the street because there is more space in the street. But the thing is that the sidewalks are absolutely horrendous. And I think that when I look at all of the areas in which I walk, and I went with the big one in particular, I walk a couple of miles. Sometimes I walked as much as 3 miles with her. And some of the areas, they're beautiful, but the sidewalks where they have actually done repairs are horrible. They're so irregular. And all I can think of was when I used to be with Papa, well, let me put it in the way of baking a cake. If you bake a cake, you usually bake all of your layers at one time, don't you? You don't bake one layer and then put this after it has been in 8, 9, 10 minutes, whatever, and then put another raw layer on top of that and bake it, because that first layer is going to be hard and ugly. But some of the sidewalks where they've done an enormous amount of work, but they've done it in such a way that they've done it in layers, and it only lasts, maybe it might last a week, if that long, because one layer has gotten, they've built the smooth layer on the side of one that is inclined, so that it doesn't last very long. And I've seen some of the older people, not as old as I am, but the irregularities are such that unless they are very careful, they are wont to fall. And it's something that when they're building, the people who are building them should really be conscious of the fact and take it into consideration that they need to smooth it out so that you have an entire layer that is of the same consistency, and that so that it's not going to cause some damage to the people. And now, let me tell you about my little dog this morning. It was a little brisk this morning when we went out, and she likes to walk. But this morning we had done our normal walk, and I was about to go on the part that goes past the golf course around here. And as we approached our house, Marley started turning into the driveway. So I went a little further, and Marley just stopped dead in the middle of the driveway. And her whole attitude was, uh, Mom, it's a bit nippy out here, and what you do what you want to do, but I am going inside. And I took her leash off, and she immediately went up the driveway. And I thought, now this is what you call a smart dog. This is what you call a smart puppy who's not only looking out for her mistress, but she's looking out for herself too, because it was a little bit nippy this morning, and she wanted to get back in. It was a little bit warm. Is that right, Mama? Is that what we were doing this morning? And like, you notice how she's sitting so low in the lap this morning? Because I think maybe she sees herself on the tube here. She wants to do it. Anyhow, it has really been a very, very beautiful neighborhood. And if you happen to see something or hear something that you like, give me a line on the comments. I'd like to hear from you. I would like to hear from something about which you might want to hear, that I might know about which I may know. That sounds very irregular, doesn't it? However, I would get high points on that in my class. And I've always wanted to get high points in my class. Thank you for listening. And have a good day. Mama, say hi. Say goodbye. Say goodbye, everyone. Say goodbye, everyone. Thank you.